Are really savoring this one, as we have shown you. Thousands of people at KCI Airport right now.
It is a night of festive celebration at KCI, and among them is Mike Walter, joined now by our old colleague, Len Dawson.
Well, Lenny, I'll tell you what, you can probably remember those glory days, 1969, coming home, seeing the crowds. What do you think of this one?
Reminds me a lot of when I think it was Buffalo. We won the championship in Buffalo to go to the first Super Bowl. The old airport, we couldn't even get to the gate. At least they got to the gate here because people were overrunning, spilling out onto the runway area. So this is very exciting. It's been a long time since these fans have had something really to cheer about. It's been a long time. 1969 was the last time Kansas City played in a championship game in the AFC. So it's going to be exciting. Plus the fact, where are they going? They're going to Buffalo. That's where we won the first championship to go to Super Bowl I.
Repeat of history, perhaps. You came back on this flight. Describe what the mood was among the players on that flight back.
They were exhausted, for one thing. You have to understand that when they get on the plane, immediately they start treating themselves with ice packs and things like that to get ready for the next football game. But it was one of satisfaction right after the game, and in the locker room for a while. There was a lot of jubilation, real excitement. But this was a grueling football game, and guys got banged around out there. Kevin Ross, for example, broke a bone in his finger, I do believe, or in his hand. So he has to go through treatment. They're putting a cast on him. The players came. They were relaxed. I guess the people the most excited were not the players, but the people surrounding it, like, the front office people.
The NFL, as you well know, playing in it for as long as you did, talent means an awful lot, but character means an awful lot. How much character does this team have to come back from that 10-0 deficit at halftime? A lot of people counting them out.
You know, I go back, I think, to the San Diego game out in San Diego when the Chiefs were down, needed a touchdown to win. Joe Montana engineered that touchdown drive. And I say because when I went into the locker room, the eyes of these players were just wide because they had never experienced this before. People like Tim Grunhard and David Zott, and they were in awe of Joe Montana. But Joe Montana was kind of matter of fact because he had done it so many times. And I think now they believe that even though they get behind, if they hang in there together, they get an opportunity to win. Take a look at the last several ball games. They've started out behind. The one game they jumped out 14-0. They got beat by the Chicago Bears.
And you know, a lot of people here tonight aren't asking or talking about if we beat Buffalo. They're asking, geez, do you think we can win the Super Bowl?
I don't think they should do that because in Houston, the Houston fans were talking about going to Buffalo to take on the Bills and get redemption from a year ago. This team is not thinking that way. They know it's going to be tough. They beat Buffalo here, but there's so many players that went up to Buffalo a couple of years ago and got thrashed pretty good in a playoff game. So they remember that. They know it's going to be tough playing up there.
Okay, so if you're one of those Chiefs fans, stop that right now. Right, Len?
Yeah, I got you. They're all looking for Joe. Joe's home by now,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, Joe snuck out another way, and Len Dawson's going to need the Chiefs offensive line to get out of here because they want a Hall of Fame quarterback, and this is the only one left here. So, Leonard, best of luck to you.
They can never get a hold of Joe.
No, that's
true. They
true.
brought 3 buses to the team hotel. He and Marcus were in the 3rd. They took him to the loading dock.
Oh, yeah.
Snuck into the back way, and the fans missed it.
And I'm sure you probably already realize this, Dave. They snuck him out right away once they landed here.
What a surprise.
No surprises.
You know, Michael, I'm with the last man that Len Dawson allowed to put his hands underneath him. The center for Len Dawson in 1974-75 had a 10-year, 11-year career with Kansas City Chiefs Tom Condon, now an agent of the Stars, a spectacular list, including Joe Montana. You talked to Joe after the game. Physically, how is he?
I'll tell you, Dave, he looked like the happy warrior. He was pleased, he was relieved, but he also looked like he'd been banged up a little bit.
You know, we talked about how good Houston's defense is and was, and statistically it was very good. What did the offensive line do today? How do they have that kind of success?
Offensive line did a great job. Marcus had a very nice day. Joe got excellent protection. The Chiefs gave up 2 sacks. One, Latham, he came free. Nobody picked him up, so it's an assignment error, and it didn't have anything to do with being beat physically. And on the other end of the ball, with Dave Adolph running the defense, they had 9 sacks of the Oilers. And the Oilers have one of the top offensive lines in football. 5 fumbles, disrupted the offense.
Did anything surprise you that you saw today? Did you feel like potentially Kansas City could control the game as they did?
I think what surprised me most really was that it was a passing day. I mean, Marcus was the only one that made any kind of an impact on the running game, and he had over a 5-yard average. But I think that Kansas City might have run the ball 17 or so times, and Houston maybe 13 or so. And that's just such low numbers in terms of the running game. So I guess I didn't expect the ball to be in the air that much. I didn't think that Kansas City could sack the Houston Oilers 9 times, not because we don't have the personnel. It's just that Houston lines up some of the best players in football across that offensive line.
A couple of weeks ago, the Chiefs were talking about their offense was still improving. How good is this team right now? Where are they in the development of a football team, all 3 phases?
You know, on offense, they kind of they remind you of Rocky Balboa. Mm-hmm. They've got to get knocked around for a little while before they decide to come back out. But I thought that Albert Lewis provided a catalyst right there before the end of the first half when he kind of got into the scuffle over on the sidelines.
Right.
Somehow he got out of that without being penalized. Everybody in the general vicinity was, though. So, and then they came back out for halftime down 10-0 and really went to work and looked great. So I think it's a matter of sometimes you're out of sync a little bit and you get back into your rhythm, and Joe seems to get better as the game goes on.